need for the ability of the ministry to have something where they can get funding from. Because most of these funds, instead of them supporting a certain specific purpose or admin costs, they were now funding, say, Motikariya minister, at times my trips the ministry, and at times they were funding Shiri authorized. And we did a paper where we analyzed the retention funds. So they were statutory funds. They were retention funds. PFMA funds. Was everybody could apply to the minister for retention authority. And that paper caused the minister to revoke the retention authority that he had issued to certain funds. Because it was quoted in the next day in the Financial Gazette. The title was Police Collecting 80 Million Parliament Budget Office. And I received a call from someone. The information I know that's in the blue book. Go and read the blue book. It's actually 79.6 million in the blue book. So it's not me, it's the Minister of Finance. So why we raised those issues was because at that time, police was retaining something and they were well resourced. They could go, make arrests, but when it came to the time of court, prisons had no retention authority. But these two institutions were receiving from the same big pot again. That's why I wanted to queue Home Affairs, through Home Affairs, through justice. When did I queue Sasa? Right, I queue Sasa, Muma, Garanaka, Homaka, so I was well funded. That's why my own police, even when I have a PGHQ motor, but station works now. But prisons works now. And they were receiving the same. Sakapapa imbalance in terms of funding of the institutions. Was another prisons, like one up Sasa, but Coxna Murio, police, one up Sasa, Murio. So we did a paper on that. I will share the paper when I finish presenting. So I'm going to be presenting on these retention funds, specifically looking at the Auditor General findings, specifically for the retention funds that are under the Ministry of Environment's purview. The general findings, I will share them later. In terms of the big pot, the SADA pot, this is what the budget was proposing in 2020 to allocate 425 million, but of which retention was 190 million. And by 30 June of that bigger pot, only 8% had been released. So you may be wondering, the ministry has 8%. A very good example is Minister of ICT. Minister of ICT, in their second quarter report, they said they have not received. In fact, Wanga has zero by employment cost. Wanga has zero. Then for other expenses, I think to do with programs, Papa is zero again. Then in terms of achievement, they said, although we didn't receive any funding from Treasury, we managed to maintain 95% uptime of internet, whatever, connectivity. So 95% achievement. So we questioned the committee to say, if they didn't receive anything, including even salaries, how come they managed to perform up to 95% of what is expected? Which means, so the appeal to the committee was, please, on our behalf, talk to the Minister of Finance, we need this fund. So, so you see, they were getting something from somewhere, and they realized that the Potras was financing even my foreign trips, my domestic trips, even vehicles for the ministry, vehicles for the minister, PMSEC, whatever. But they also wanted funding from the bigger pot. Then let's understand the context. The context is such that in the strategy paper they are saying world growth in 2020 will be minus 4.4%. Then in Africa it will be minus 3.0% due to decreased foreign direct investment, lending and low tourism activity. Tourism was what has happened in the tourism industry has an effect on the bigger ports, because even the economy, you will see a decrease in economic growth. Then in terms of the National Development Strategy 2021, the one which is being finalized now, in the issue on environmental protection, climate resilience and natural resource management, we want to achieve a 5 billion tourism economy by 2025, and the government providing such support to the industry through tourism sector. I'm giving this background because I want you to understand why it is important to have an oversight over the ministry and the statutory funds that they have authority over. This is some of the citizen voice that we gathered. Last week we were undertaking public consultations throughout the country. I'm glad I have other honorable members. I was with my honorable MP here, Kushimani Manu. Some people were saying we need to ring-fence finance climate change tracking so that it's protected from any other cuts. Some people were saying there's Elizabeth Kushimani Manu, Emma is incapacitated to monitor deforestation. So that's Emma Elizabeth from Chumanimani. There was another Manya Kwenda who said Emma capacitation to fight climate change. Staff Emma. It's inadequate. So want you to tie this to what they have or what is being retained versus what needs to be done. So how can we force, because the excuse that is given is we are not getting adequate budgetary support from government. So having looked at the funds and having looked at the requirements, can the ministries be able to perform, at least show some modicum of performance based on what they are retaining rather than based on what they want to take from the bigger pot? There are issues around inadequate budget. There is issues around the carbon tax that is not being remitted from Treasury. There are issues around deforestation, issues around wetlands. People were complaining, issues around wetlands, issues around issues around the afforestation fund that is resourced from the tobacco levy. And the estimate is it's above 5 million every year. And that 5 million year afforestation fund should be going towards Forestry Commission. And Forestry Commission is crying that they are not getting adequate budget support from government. But there's an afforestation fund that is being collected by the TIMB that is not being remitted to Forestry Commission because it's a afforestation fund. So it should be funding issues around afforestation. Then there are issues around poaching, issues around licensing, human wildlife conflict. These are issues that we gathered from public consultation. But let me preface my present by saying, for this committee to be very successful in doing what it's supposed to be doing, it's a trinity of A's. Number one is the authority. Do you have the legal backing to exercise the PFM oversight and scrutiny? Number two is your ability, and the ability is centered around the resources. Do we have resources as a committee? And the expertise, that's why we are gathered here, to get that expertise. And the third issue that is very important is the attitude of the members of parliament. Are they willing? Is there that resolve and commitment and by this committee to exercise this oversight? After this presentation and after this meeting, do you have that resolve to exercise that oversight? So in terms of the legal framework, it's very clear. Section 119, Section 298, Section 299, I'll go through it. So it's very clear. So the authority is there. The ability is the one that is we are building today. What remains is the attitude. The legal framework in terms of standing order is very clear. I won't go through it. Now let's go to the ability. Ability. In terms of the ability, this capacity building workshop is trying to build the ability of members of parliament to be doing what they are supposed to be doing. So let's look at the Auditor General observations in 2018. Related to the ministry are this. I think we've discussed this in the quarterly report. We highlighted that the committee is supposed to be following up on the Auditor General report and the issues that were raised by the Auditor General, but mainly to do with acquittal of foreign mission expenditure, UNWTO campaigns and foreign missions. I won't go in detail about the general observations for the ministry. I'll go into the statutory funds. The environment, water and climate in 2018, they got a qualified opinion there are three types of opinion. Unqualified opinion, qualified opinion in the disclaimer of an opinion. Unqualified opinion is a clean opinion, but it is unqualified with the emphasis of matter. It's clean, but only right, but you need to improve on one or two, but only right. Then you can qualify it. I will say right, there is something. And the Auditor General will put the reason for qualification. I qualified them because Vakaita 1, 2, 3, 4. Because the disclaimer is more like the Auditor General didn't get sufficient evidence for which to base her opinion on. So I can ask now Kuama books of accounts, I can ask now Kuama financial statements. She cannot give an opinion. So I have a disclaimer about this. So a disclaimer is the West, which is where qualified, which is where unqualified is the clean opinion. So the Environment, Water and Climate 2018 got a qualified opinion because of unreconciled expenditure. The sub-PMG account, sub-Paymaster General account, and the Public Finance Management System. System of Ministry of Finance, one of this. Versus the Ministry, sub-Paymaster General account. Zviruti released of Ministry of Finance versus received of Ministry. Saka pane imwe mari isingazika muti yakaita sei ndo saka akaita qualified opinion. Why zvakadaro? It's because Ministry of Finance ine tendency yokuita direct payments on behalf of the ministry. Saka what they would have paid to ministry is higher than what the ministry has in their books as their expenditure. So that was the reason for that qualified opinion. But you have the Meteorological Services Fund under the ministry. The Meteorological Services Fund under the ministry got a qualified opinion in the 2018 Auditor General report, but this is for their 2016 accounts. They got a qualified opinion. Why qualified? Because their debt recovery system is very ineffective. Because 191 revenue due from airline operators remained uncollected. As in 191 debtors had not been approached to pay Omarielu. This Meteorological Services Fund is the one year which airlines South African Airways. They pay a certain amount to the fund for them to be receiving weather updates for Marapa Airport. So they pay a certain amount. So the fund or the ministry or whoever the administrators of the fund are supposed to follow up on those airlines to say to pay Omarielu. So that's why now the general, their debt recovery system is very ineffective. So they are crying, we don't have funding, but they are for example, in 2015, in 2017, 2 million was owing. That's US dollars, by the way. In 2016, about 1.8 was owing, and this represents 95% of the total assets of the fund. So if your total assets 95, because you are not going collect then it means the fund is not following up on security, and they are crying to funding, yet funding is out there. So it's the duty of this committee and the responsibility of this committee to ensure that they are put to task in as far as collecting their amounts due from these airlines is concerned. Then finally, I am inconsistent data records, outstanding TMS advances not cleared, the general. Data records were inconsistent. South African Airways owes us 5 million, when South African Airways are 3 million. They were inconsistent. So those issues are supposed to be verified and followed up on. Then outstanding TMS advances not cleared. The fund gave officers TNS when we were clear system was it within 14 days what fill up forms that kind of foreign travel forms you clear was no advance how do you know? So those are some of the issues. Then there was issue of the delivery of equipment. Since 2006 there's a generator which is worth 474.6 thousand per euro. The fund made a part payment of 100,000, which is about 72,000 euro in 2006 on a company in France. Then after making that payment, that was not a full deposit payment, it was a part deposit payment. Then the generator, which is a hydrogen generator, was not delivered by 2018 for the first tranche of payment in 2006. The reason given is, Atina Forex, Yokubadara this, but as a committee we are supposed to be following up on this. They approach the Reserve Bank to request for Forex. If not, ministry can be taken to task, or even the committee can intercede on behalf of the fund to say, RPZ, surely for something that was deposited in 2006, which has not been delivered, looking at how critical it is, can we intercede on your behalf to make sure that there is enough foreign currency so that this thing is delivered? And the Kanawaka foreign currency, the money in 2006 yacho, you could take a generator in local currency, because they said they didn't have the foreign currency. So the money by then, so these are some of the issues. This is the Auditor General finding. And yes, she has been raising this issue since 2008, I think, to say there is an outstanding generator that I got deposited in 2006 which has not been delivered. So that's about the Meteorological Services Fund. Then there's the National Coordinating Unit Fund of 2017, which was established by government following a UN declaration of 1985 for safe drinking water. So its focus is mainly on rural areas. And the main objective of the National Action Committee is to coordinate water and sanitation matters in rural areas through its secretariat. So there's a fund to coordinate safe water for the rural areas. And for this fund, the main issue that the Auditor General has found is violation of procurement procedures. So that's the main issue. And wherever you see violation of procurement procedures, you know, some corruption in reports. And wherever there's corruption, service delivery is affected. So that's the issue under this fund. Amongst other funds, looking at the Blue Book and looking at the committee reports and looking at even the budget, we can tell that Zimpax generates an average of around 1.6 million USD every year. Although their expenditure, they say is above that, but they are generating this 1.6 million. Which means to finance their operations, they only need the difference of what they are generating versus what they want. And if they are only generating 1.6, are there other ways of making sure that they generate in excess of 1.6? Imagine with all the wildlife that we have, we are only generating US 1.6 million with all that wildlife. Hunting, whatever, safaris, and whatever, tourist agenda, only generate 1.6 million. So let's look at this and say, what efforts can be done by this fund, by Zimpax, to generate more revenue in excess of 1.6 million. Forestry generating 3 million. I know their services are not that commercial, but they're generating 3 million. And let's also look at that to say, how can they generate more? EIA fees, then there's ZTA, which generates around 10 million, US 10 million. Then there's the tourism fund, where they put their expenditure to be around 21 million. The tobacco levy in 2019, according to the Blue Book, the tobacco levy 2019, they collected 59 million dollars. Then in 2020, they were anticipating to collect 216 million, that's dollars. So there is a fund somewhere, that's the tobacco levy. They are anticipating to collect that amount to finance. Then some of the funds under the ministry, I took the first, I think it's that blue paper that we got from the Blue Book. I think it's clearer there. There are other funds that are also retained by the ministry, which include Environment Fund, Roads Matopos Fund, Roads Nyanga Fund, Lake Kariba Fisheries and Research Institute Fund, Zimbabwe Tourism Fund, then the Meteorological Services Fund, we spoke about that Meteorological Services Fund. And those are the amounts that they were anticipating to collect in 2020, although COVID-19 came into the fore. but they've collected something. And we need, as a committee, to make sure that we know what they collected. In the reports that are submitted to the committee, unfortunately, they don't disclose the amount that they've collected. Paneka section kataka some reports katakati susu retention funds, the amounts that you collect, karimu, but they don't complete that deliberately, but always complain we are getting insufficient amounts from the Ministry of Finance, but they don't disclose how much they collected. So it's up to this committee to make sure that we get that information from the ministry as much as possible so that we know how much they collected. Let's look at one of the funds, Secretary's Fund in 2017. The Secretary's Fund was established to encourage research in conservation of wildlife, including fish, national parks, botanical gardens, sanctuary, safari area, recreational parks, and natural resources. And the Secretary's Fund in 2017, they got a qualified opinion. Unfortunately, the Auditor General report for 2019 is out, but has not been tabled in Parliament. So we cannot preempt the findings of the auditor of that report unless it's done tabled in Parliament. But I tell you and guarantee you, most of these issues are recurring issues ever since from 2014 or ever since these funds were established. So they got a qualified opinion in 2017. Why qualified? Qualified where that it's an unclean opinion. Why they were qualified, Panishe and supported expenditure. But we can expenditure, but it's not supported. Misstatement of revenue received. They are saying we received this amount of revenue, but looking at the receipts that they may have received more than what they are declaring. That's what the Auditor General was saying. And for the third year in succession, the ministry transferred funds amounting to 73,484. In 2016, they transferred 98,000 from the water fund account into the Secretary's Fund without treasury approval. So our ministry didn't go to transfer our funds from the Secretary's Fund, from the water fund into the Secretary's Fund without treasury approval. So you never know what's happening there. They need treasury approval to be transferring funds between my ministry. So this was the basis for the qualified opinion in 2017. Unsupported expenditure and statement of revenue received, which means they may have received more revenue than what they reported. For the water fund, it was established to provide for the development and utilization of water resources of Zimbabwe, to provide for the establishment of powers and procedures of the catchment councils and sub-catchment councils, and to grant permits for the use of water, control of use of water, when water is in short supply, acquisition of substitute in respect of water, among other issues. But this fund in 2017 again got a qualified opinion. You see, we have these funds, but most of these funds, that's why we wrote the paper to say, most of these funds are now being used for nefarious activities. Was qualified again. Why? Revenue amounting to 1.7 million for the period February to December 2 was not receipted. Revenue, no receipt whatsoever. So it's about 95% of the total revenue which was not receipted. So you see, personal receipt was always waiting. So this was the basis for the qualified opinion. So as a committee, we need to be following up on these issues. So in essence, we are saying the AG has raised the red flag of a lack of transparency and accountability with regard to most of these statutory retention funds. And most of these PFMA retention funds were created, like I said, as a survival tactic during the peak of government fiscal challenges around 2008 up to 2014 there. Most of these retention funds. But the argument was very economic to say, revenue fund. During inflation time, they are worthless. Some can collect, utilize it, use it. So it was a very good reason. But however, there are now issues around transparency and accountability of these funds. So, although some of the funds, in 2017, Minister Aga revoked some of the retention authority of most of the funds, but it has not addressed issue abuse of the funds. Was still, Cheraga and the consolidated revenue fund first, there is issue of abuse and the misuse of the funds. So this qualified disclaimer adverts are red flags for possible abuse of these funds. This goes to show that there is urgent need for accountability and transparency on most of these fund accounts. Then going to PAX 2016. 2016 PAX were unmodified with an emphasis of momentum. Unmodified is a clean opinion. Really right, but emphasis on momentum is really right, but improve here. Which means it's not that clean, but it's better. Why unmodified? Loss after tax of about 6 million 2016. Current liability position, I'm glad now accountant, but your assets are less than your liabilities. So it puts aspersions on your ability to continue operating as a going concern. Zvikwereti zvenyu zvakawandisa kudarika mari yamunayo chero mukatengesa mune maassets amunawo. But hamukwanisi kubhadhara zvikwereti zvenyu zvamunazvo. Saka going concern issue, you are not a going concern. Ndo yanga iri nyaya yePax in 2016. And this has been the issue since 2014. Kuti zvikwereti zvePax zvakawandisa kudarika maassets avanawo combined. Then, among other issues that were identified in a board PAX, which we need this committee to look at, the board to verify if this has been addressed. Well, this has been raised by the Auditor General for such a long time. The composition of the board don't comprise the experts as required in the Parks and Wildlife Act, including legal, finance, and business management. Then, sitting allowances, there were issues where they were paid they get sitting allowances from this fund. So the board was getting sitting allowances which are above the stipulated rates. For example, there were times when the board chairman is supposed to be receiving 300, if I'm not mistaken, 300 as sitting allowance, but they were getting in excess of 450 per sitting. So this was raised by the Auditor General. So you see there's misuse of funds, which Panama rates are cut off. Then there is issue of purchase of laptops, cell phones for board members without ministry approval. There is nothing wrong in buying laptops, but just get the ministry approval. So the ministry, I told you, laptops, there's nothing wrong, but just get the ministry approval. Those not our PFMA. Then vehicle fleet of parks has outlived its lifespan. Motorcar Zero Parks and Wildlife Management Authority, there's the Madonna. I think you know that. They were grounded. So most of the cars in the Madonna, which means this fund is not able to even purchase vehicles for the use of the parks. And even government from the bigger court is not committing resources to finance the parks to buy vehicles. Most of their vehicles have outlived their usefulness. Holiday allowances which are not subject to tax, which are paid to directors. Then another very big issue is parks did not have title to some of their properties and vehicles. There are 3 vehicles which are registered in the name of third parties. In Montcario Pins, I have registered under Chore, I see the parks. I registered under Chore, you know, I have a claim over that car. No one will take a second of anything. So there were 3 cars which were not registered under parks. Then there are some properties. I think we should ping or management somewhere there. There's a property which is not registered under parks, but area parks, which means there's an anomaly there. Then kuna issue encroachment and leasing of parking estates. I think you know this. Encroachment, parking, leasing, mining, all those issues. The remitting of the advanced medical providers, my issues are going on in 2016. There was an issue of, this was in 2017, sorry. In 2017, they were given an unmodified opinion, or a clean opinion, but there was an issue of installation of Wi-Fi at individual members, board members' residence, without ministry approval again. I saw Wi-Fi without ministry approval. So these are some of the issues. You see, the purpose of the fund versus what is being used for. Then again, in ownership of assets, they not corrected the issue of the cars, which were in individuals' names. And that issues across the board. For example, Marondera City Authority, the public account Marondera, the rumors there and the council. As I seems there council. So I'm not carrying the water, you know, but no one has taken it upon themselves to make sure what can is reach them, council. What happens in Canada? Not the same impacts in 2016, 2017. Then with ZTA, again, ZTA in 2016, they got a clean opinion. But however, the Zimbabwe Tourism Fund got a qualified opinion for all the years from 2013, 2014, 2015. The qualification that red opinion. Why Makawana qualification? They are incurring a deficit. That figure in 2015, 968 in 2014, 1 million, 1.2, 1.3 million in 2013, and they have a negative working capital going concern issue here. For all the years, very negative working capital. That's the Zimbabwe Tourism Fund. There was no contract of employment for the chief executive, although he is no longer there. But the issue that was the justification was that the contract to Civil Aviation Authority. So the same contract in like ZTA. That was the issue. So the text that I want to those I want to was I the contract here. So I said it was a cabinet directive, so we can't do anything about it. So the committee was supposed to make sure that I don't want a contract which is commensurate with what he was doing with ZTA, not with the airport. Then in 2014, Pani issue fuel, monthly fuel allocation, which amounted to 2,000 per month. So a board member wanted $2,000 per month a fuel, which is an equivalent of about 1.316 liters of fuel per month. You know, cover 13,958 kilometers per month. Can I MP which conveys about fuel? So those are some of the issues. You see, we have a fund, but what it is being used for? It was around more bigger, but yet we have a fund, but the Russians was really job. Then there's a forestry fund. In 2016, was modified or clean opinion, but there was an emphasis on matter, the deficit going concern issue. And they were not paying statutory and other obligations. Banana NASA was put a meter, banana pensions was put a meter, banana medical aid, collector, but they are not remitting. That was the issue. Then banana allied timbers again, there was an issue of allied Altim Timbers, a subsidiary of allied timbers. It had not been audited since 2014. Because why it discontinued the operation, they've stopped that Altim Timbers, but they have got audit, although they actually a discontinued operation. So the Auditor General had given a disclaimer of opinion due to limitation of scope. Disclaimer is in honorable Parliament, disclaimer, current liabilities exceed current assets. Company had been under declaring revenue it earned when it filed monthly VAT returns. So Zimura under declared. And the Zimura under declaring. That's right. They were not acquitting CD1 forms within the required 3-month period. So as such, they were blacklisted, made to pay a fine of $245 for each CD1 form. That was created and delayed in terms of acquittal. And then there were inconsistencies between what they were supposed to be receiving and the invoices and company lawyers and the customers. So there was those inconsistencies that were identified by the Auditor General. You go into 2017, it's the same issue again, which calls for this committee to make sure that we put an end to this. And I tell you, 2019 Auditor General is the same. Issues of current assets, current liabilities exceeding current assets, issues of Altim Timbers not yet being audited, issues of 8 bank and eco-cash accounts operated by the company which were not in the company's name. So eco-cash is Mr. Maria company is from Mr. Maria Parliament is from Mr. and account young in each one. Those are allied timbers. Implementing prior recommendations were outstanding. Customs, CD1 forms and everything. So these were the issues that were identified by the Auditor General. In terms of the findings by the audit, and in terms of the funds that are operated or that the ministry has oversight on. But let me, and with those statutory and retention funds, with the Auditor General report coming to say over 70% of them were in qualified or adverse or disclaimer, and abandoning over 2 million of your resources. then can we really say we are poor? Back to what you were saying earlier. Thank you very much for this time. I end my presentation.
For these and other stories, visit our website www.263chat.com. Follow us on Twitter @263chat and like our Facebook page 263chat.